All right, good evening and welcome to Pittsburgh City Council's Cablecast public hearing for Thursday, May 15th, 2025. Will the clerk please read the subject of the bill?
This public hearing is relative to public safety and crime in the city of Pittsburgh.
Thank you. And for the record, we're joined by Council Member Barb Warwick and Councilman Anthony Colgill, who's also the Chair of Public Safety. And just to say, I've received a lot of requests for a hearing, a meeting, something to express the frustration. A lot of residents, some of you were here today, for the crime that's occurring in the city of Pittsburgh, different issues, different reasons. And so this is that meeting, and we're hoping that we can come up with some maybe possible solutions. But I do want to say that, well, I'll talk about the rest of this after. I'm going to call the first registered speaker is Sarah Williams.
Am I the only one?
No.
Okay, there's my son. Okay. If someone else wants to go first, you can go.
No, no, you go.
Okay, all right.
She's not ready to go? You're not ready to go?
Can you go? No, I'm ready. I'm ready. I just.
If you want to take a second, we can call the next person. There's another registered speaker. You.
I just was surprised I was first.
Yeah.
Because I signed up late, I thought.
Well, there's not a lot of registered speakers.
It's kind of hard to speak on this just because I don't even know what the meeting's actually officially about. So I mean, I get that it's public safety, and I get that there's a lot of concern and issues around that, but like we don't really have an agenda here. We don't have any specific talking points to talk to. So I'm just going to say a few things about where I live. I'm in Sheridan. I live 2 blocks away from Langley. I'm on the corner of Zephyr and Hammond. I'm the house that has all the plants that everyone thinks are weeds, but are actually native plants in a pollinator garden. Thank you. It's a very important thing. And one of the things that's important about it is the kids really like it. I spend a lot of time talking to my neighbors because I'm out in that garden almost every day. Kids stop on their way to school. Kids stop on their way from school. Kids sit on our wall. Kids don't mess with my plants because I've asked them nicely not to, and they listen to me, and I appreciate that. And those kids are, I know, a lot of the problem that everyone perceives about our neighborhood, and they are not here to talk about what they need and what they want and what's missing in our neighborhood. So I think that is a very, very important thing that we need to be doing as we talk about all of this, and that's engaging the young people in our neighborhood. And I don't mean the ones that show up to an event because they're signed up for a group. I mean the ones that are wandering around, that are living across the street from me, that don't have enough money to scrape together for bus fare to get themselves to someplace, that are facing food insecurity, that are facing housing insecurity, and that causes petty crime. We have no jobs in our neighborhood. We have no programs that provide activities that will allow kids to get paid for their time in any way, shape, or form. And until we start engaging with these young people, and again, I mean the ones that are on the edges, until we actively engage with them, and it's not a bunch of us talking, it's them talking with us, and we are learning from them what they want or need, nothing is going to change. There are programs in this city that are successful, and none of them are happening in the West End, except for a very, very few, and they are maxed out and underfunded. So until we start seeing funding, until we start seeing successful programs transferred over to the West End from other parts of the city, and until we start engaging with those kids, petty crime is going to keep being a thing. And that's all I really have to say at the moment until we learn more about what's going on here.
Thank you. The next registered speaker is Carl Sutter.
Yes, my name is Carl Sutter, longtime resident of District 2, I guess. I'm talking about public safety as that lady is. Public safety also concerns housing. I have an address at 2781 Glenmar Street. It's right up the street from where that lady lives. It's zoned an R2 area. It was illegally converted into 3 units with no egress from the 2nd floor. It's owned by a gentleman called Equity Trust Company. It was bought in 2021 for $75,850. Equity Trust is run by a Nicholas McFalls, and he lives at 233 Carrington Avenue in the north side. I looked 233 Carrington Street in the north side He paid $411,000 for this property in 2022. As of today, the property is assessed for $46,000. That's what happens in Sheridan. The residents weren't paying attention and they let the slum landlords take over their community. So until they all wake up and smell the roses, it's going to keep getting bad. So thanks, Teresa, for having the meeting.
Thank you, Carl. Now, that's the exhaust our list of registered speakers. Is there anyone else that wishes to address City Council tonight? Aaron, did you want to? Yes. Just come forward.
Wow, it's been a while. Is this on? I don't think
I don't think any of them.
I don't think it's on. Okay, because I'm like, I don't hear it. Okay. Hi, I'm Erin Mulchaney. I'm a resident of Bertha Street in Mount Washington, and several of our neighbors are here from Mount Washington today. We have a lot of concerns about the speedway that has become our neighborhood. Any given night, if the weather is over 60 degrees to 65 degrees, we have an ongoing stream of racing motorcycles, and later at night, cars with modified exhaust that race up and down Bertha Street, Ulysses Street, basically the streets that do not have the speed humps and the traffic calming measures. That's her street. And it's really become an issue for a lot of the residents when it comes to quality of life. I know we talk a lot about retaining young people and bringing young families into the city, and we can't even get activity or action on enforcing a noise ordinance from 10 p.m. until 6 a.m. So it's been an ongoing struggle. We've worked with the councilwoman on this. We've reached out to Commander Abraham. I know we've been texting videos. All of us have Ring doorbells. All of us have cameras that face the street. We've sent videos of the speed racing. We've sent, photos of who's doing it. We send them in and it feels like nothing happens. We've requested a camera. The camera was put at the corner of Bertha Street and Grandview Avenue. We're not totally convinced the camera's being viewed, whatever footage is coming off the camera. We've requested traffic calming measures. We've called 911 repeatedly over the last, I'd say, 2 years now. We've been working on this. One of our neighbors who couldn't be here this evening actually did send me the number of days, 92. In 92 days, there were 81 calls made to law enforcement requesting that someone come and deal with the noise complaints and control what was happening on Grandview. And there were 25 responses to those complaints. Now, I understand that there's a lot going on in a city, and we completely, we're respectful of that. We know we're not the only neighborhood. There's got to be a really creative solution here that we're not thinking of. I don't know that we need law enforcement to sit at the top of our street every night when it's 60 degrees for 7 hours, but we'd love to work with the city and with the police to come up with a solution, because it's driving people out of our neighborhood. It's impacting our business community when we're business owners over here too. Am I cut off? Okay. Well, happy to tell you more later.
Thank you. And I will say Aaron was our state representative for a term. So thank you, Aaron. Anyone else wishing to address? Mrs. Bailey? Read the text you sent me. Yeah. Do you want to speak? Yeah. Did you want to speak? Yeah.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Miss Bailey.
I appreciate you all coming to hear the community's
concerns, as this lady was saying and Carl was saying. I live in Sheridan. When I purchased my property 19 years ago, we had a working police station. We had plenty of police patrolling the area. Since that time, it's like Mayberry RFD, but we're not Mayberry RFD. I've never heard of a metropolitan city with a police station that closes. That's ridiculous, but that's not what I'm up here for. I'm up here about quality of life issues. The city is not using Ordinance 670 as it should be used. I get people sending me pictures of garbage, not a little trash, but garbage that is pathetic. It's like we're a third world country. And not only that, we have companies that I sent the video to City Council a couple of years ago. There's a company up on Route 60. They're, I bet not say the name of the company, but they dump their debris in Sheridan. So I reached out to Joel Unger, the man who manages the Jewish cemetery in Sheridan, because I found it offensive. These are these people's final resting place, and we have companies bringing their debris in, dumping it, and my fear is with all the hillsides, landslides we have on the hillsides, that the cemetery is going to be destroyed by the debris that's going to roll down the hill. And I tracked this man down, followed him with my cell phone, and took pictures, and I submitted those pictures because somebody needs to do something. But on top of that, I have a blog in Sheridan called Sheridan Community News, and people submit pictures of trash that they're forced to live by every day. What can be done with it? Right now, Disruptive Properties is only going after bars and commercial properties. There's no commercial businesses really in Sheridan. It is the homes. And as this woman said, the children need help. But in order to help the kids, you need to help the whole household, because crap runs downhill. You got to fix mom and dad so they can get Junior together. But the issue that I'm here about really is the trash. So I appreciate if you all could enforce 670 and we can get the trash picked up, fine people, do something. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bailey. Is there anyone else wishing to speak?
I'm gonna apologize for Cruella.
Ahead of time. Oh, no.
Okay, my name is Marla James, and I'm a homeowner on Stafford Street. I bought that house a year ago in July. And what I've seen on this street was there's a house at 2940 who has a big hole in it that's in court now. So now 2 days ago, my neighbors, we both noticed that the hole is spreading in the middle of the street. Like the cement on it is dipping now. And it's like halfway in the middle of the street. Okay, that's first problem. Ridgeway, that's behind Stafford, where she's talking about all the trash is, that I have 3 houses back there that just refuse to pick up their trash. They'll throw the bag, the cars run it over, and the Monday when it's garbage day, they just throw more trash out there. It's pathetic. And I'm like, I paid too much money for this house. I got faith in Sheridan. Something got to be done. And speeding from a Keys Rocks is ridiculous. The other night, I'm in the house. I'm like, what is that? I can hear it coming up Stafford. When it got past my house, I could barely see the car. That's how fast it was going. This is every single night. And there's no playground for the kids to play at. So they play in the middle of the street. Somebody's child is going to get killed. And I done called so many times to get help on maybe get speed bumps in, on Stafford. You could sit in my house and just listen to the zoom real quick. And there's babies out there because there's no playground for them to play at. And I told my neighbor, I said, please put them in the back. But she don't want to put them in the back because there's so much trash back there. It's terrible. I'll go out there with my broom and stuff, and I'm not going on nobody's property, but I'll clean the street, but I can't go on their property. It's a mess. It's a total mess. Like with the spitting in the trash, somebody is really going to get hurt. I can see it coming. And by me being a nurse, they're going to come knock on my door. But still, I mean, I'm going to always help them. But I'm like, something has to be done quick. I mean, the kids, they don't have nothing to do but hang around and just do bad stuff. Like, there's nothing for them to do. There's no park. And I'm like, what are you to do? There's no park in Sheridan for these kids.
Wait. We'll address that after. We don't interrupt when there's speakers. We let them speak and then council responds. Okay? So, I'm sorry.
So
It's
I'm
her-
just
she still has
saying,
time, right?
okay, but
Her
who's
time-
going to
she
let
still
their
has time?
child go to Sheridan Park with one way in and one way out, and all the bad kids go down there? I wouldn't let my grandkids go down there because it's dangerous. It's secluded. It's a secluded park. I mean, there has to be. I wrote letters. I had a little small community meeting at my house to see if I could help these kids. We wanted to talk to Langley and see if they could have like extended something to let these kids come in there and play, help with homework. I'll even get on there and help them. But they turned us away. And I'm like, come on, these kids are the neighborhood. Help them. Don't let them keep provoking to be bad because there's nothing for them to do. Help these babies. But they turned away.
Oh, time up? Okay.
So I don't know what else to do.
Thanks, Lori. Thanks. Anyone else wishing to speak? Anyone else? Anybody from Westwood? You're not going to speak? No? No? Okay. Anyone else? Okay. You would do? Okay. I thought you did. Okay.
Thank you. I'm here as a resident and a business owner. So my husband and I live and work in Mount Washington. And we've been here for 25 years. And honestly, the first 20 years, our street was more serene than if you were in the country. Like, for real. It was so serene. And now, the noise level in the evenings that usually start at dark. So whenever darkness comes into play, the noise level is so disturbing that the windows in my house actually shake from the level of noise. I have been remiss in that I haven't dialed 911 because I'm not trying to be an ugly neighbor. But I do know that 911 is being dispatched, and the only time we have called 911 is when somebody is actually on our property. But I'm here tonight to be part of the educational process to learn what we as residents and business owners can do to participate in creating a better quality of life for businesses and for residents to keep Mount Washington a beautiful place. Grandview Avenue is a park. I don't know if we can stretch into that idea for methods and ways to address noise. Potential, I haven't actually witnessed a drug deal happening, but there's noise on the street that people are seeing activity that resembles drug transactions. So that brings fear to me as a resident. I don't have children, but I don't even want to walk my dogs now after dark. So daytime walks is what we have available to us because it's now a scarier place to be, especially as a girl walking out alone at night. So I thank you for your time and am willing to help participate as I can to be part of the solution.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone else before I? You want to speak? Oh, and then.
Yeah, you.
Ne-
Go ahead, Tony.
Hello, everybody. My name is Tony Moreno. I was invited up here to speak for some folks that are unhappy with what's going on. the basic thing that I hear, that I'm being told, I'm being asked to address, first, I have firsthand witnessed a lot of these meetings citywide. I get asked to come to them all the time, and I try to get to them as many as possible. But I've been up here 3 or 4 times, and we hear the same thing over and over and over again. You are the organization of people that represent everybody out here. You are our representatives. You are our champions. You are the ones that we picked to go out and fight for us, stand in the gap for us. I'm just a community member right now. That's all I am. I'm a retired police officer and community member. We pick you to stand in the gap for us, to put yourself in jeopardy for us, to put your vote for us and not for you. Stand in the gap and fight what's going on in policy. Folks, you keep asking the same question and you're wondering what they're going to do about it. They're not going to tell you that this is policy from the mayor's office and they have to cooperate with the mayor's office in order to get the things that you finally get. Not that you deserve, but that you finally get. These things can change right now. These are not laws. These are not laws that are enacted that you have to go through your state representative, to go through the House and get all the things that you need to change laws. These are policies. These are this organization of 9, 3 of which are here. They get together and they decide their policies and then they vote them and then they enact them. Are they for the mayor's office? Are they for council? Or are they for us here? Because right now I'm part of us. I'm just a person. But I know what's going on. I watch, I study. And this is about changing policy and for our elected officials to stand in the gap and stop letting us get our butts kicked out here in the street. But for you to get your butt kicked on Grant Street for us. We will champion you. I'm telling you right now, Democrat or Republican, we will throw you on our shoulders and carry you around and say thank you for at least fighting these people. They might tell us to go get bent and they're stealing our money anyways, but at least we can come here and not beg you for help, but say thank you for helping us, and what more can we do? I'm just asking for the people that called me to be here. Champion for us, please.
Thank you. Nance, did you want to speak?
I'm Nancy Burns. I just want to let the Mount Washington people know I grew up in Mount Washington. I am an old Mount Washington person. I started the girls softball league up there when I was 16. I want to let you know that those motorcycles and stuff have been going on for over 30 years. Okay, so it's not nothing new, but I hope you get it resolved because it has been a very long time going on. The other thing, I live in Sheridan and there is crime. There are kids walking around. We had 3 boys about a month ago that walked around the neighborhood. They didn't make it obvious that they were up to no good, you know, wearing the ski masks and the hoodie over their eyes. They didn't make it obvious, you know. But I came out on my porch and watched them, and they were looking in cars. And I said, you know, do you see what, I asked my son, do you see what they're doing? And they turned and looked at me. And they walked up the street and turned around. And yes, I took a picture of them. I also informed neighbors from different streets because they were heading down towards the park down there. So neighbors confronted them also. No one's car was broken into that day. Neighbors need to stand up because you can't let them know you're afraid. I worked for the Board of Ed for 44 years. You can't let the kids win. You can help them. I had kids that were throwing rocks on my trampoline, and I invited them in my yard, and we had a fire. We had a fire pit. They didn't know what a s'more was. Had a s'more. Never saw them again after that. Never yelled at the kids, nothing, but I tried to get them to see that it's not bad, you know. But we need to work as a community, too. We can't just, you know, put everything on council and, I mean, we need the block parties back, the groups, the families, the whatever. And I mean, I'm still a Mount Washington fan. Sorry, I grew up there. You know, but that was all I wanted to say. You know, we need to get the community together and do phone calls like I did and stop somebody's car from being stolen that day.
Thanks, Nance. Is there anyone else wishing to speak? Anyone else wishing to speak before City Council? I do want to acknowledge that we also have Beth Pittenger, the Executive Director of the Citizens Police Review Board, with us tonight, too. Okay. With that said, I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues and start with Councilman Coghill, who's the Chair of Public Safety.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilwoman. Thank you all for coming out this evening. It's a beautiful evening. I'm sure there's a lot of other things you could have been doing. As Teresa said, I'm the Chairman of Public Safety, so I've been following closely, just so you know, the numbers on the police department. I've had post agendas on it. We keep a close eye on it. And I don't want to scare anybody, but we're an all-time low for Pittsburgh police officers. We've never had less police officers patrolling our street than we do right now, ever, right? We're under 750. Right size is probably more like 950, okay? When Mr. Moreno was on the force, which, thank you, Tony, for your service. He was a good cop from all, you're welcome. And so, you know, he had probably 1,000, maybe 1,200 when he was working. So we're at an all-time low. And it's not just this administration's fault, it's the administrations beforehand. You know, we haven't had recruitment classes to stay with the losing. We lose a certain amount by retirement, but we're really plagued now by other municipalities, like Monroeville. My cousin's police chief of Monroeville. My brother's a police chief of Cannonsburgh. There's not a year that goes by where they don't talk to me, Thanksgiving or Christmas, whether it be that they basically cherry pick our police officers, right? We get a new police officers on the force for 4 or 5 years. We're paying them, I'm just rounding about at different levels, but say we're paying them $60,000. Well, Cannonsburgh will call and offer them $90,000 because it's nationwide. It really is. It's hard to find people who want to be police officers today. So I just want to start by saying that, okay? Well aware of the situation. We're trying to do many things to recruit and retain the officers that we have, but it's not going to be something that's going to be solved overnight. So we're going to have a shortage for some time. I'm here speaking as a public safety chairman and as Teresa's colleague, but I also am here as not as a resident of District 2, but I'm no stranger to District 2. I kind of grew up at Olympia Field. I grew up in Beachview, but you know, we spent JFK football as a kid, and I know Mount Washington like the back of my hand. In fact, my better half, Lisa, is neighbors with Kathy and Darren. And Kathy spoke up here, owner of Grandview Bakery, and we live right next to each other. So I see firsthand your problems. And Lisa complains about it all the time. So I am here kind of speaking for a constituent, my constituent of District 2. Something I agree, Aaron, Kathy, something needs to be done. You know, just last night, Kathy, I come home, I'm taking Lisa home late. It's always late when I'm bringing her home. You know, kids, and what they do is they park outside our houses, and they just like party there. I don't know. And it's just like a place for them to hang out. Meanwhile, we're trying to sleep, and they're loud, they're boisterous, they throw their stuff on the ground. Besides Bertha, Aaron, I know, I see it, you know. We really have to have a police patrol. I didn't realize as Abraham, the commander, I thought maybe that was Ripple. So Abraham's the commander for up there. Okay, so I couldn't agree more. I will follow her lead, I will tell you. Anything she wants me to do as far as intervening and, you know, again, speaking out just as kind of a resident de facto. I see it all the time. I understand it. And not only that, you go up Grandview Avenue, like you said, one of you said, when it's a nice evening out, oh my gosh, you can't even drive down there. They're just in the middle of the street. They're everywhere. So I don't know exactly what the answer is there, but more police presence certainly would be, you know, a good start. And somebody ticketing on Bertha. Carl, I'll get to you, man. Let me go through everything. No. Oh, all right. Well, the boss here says, you know, she'll let us know. So anyway, I understand the problem up there. Sheridan, again, I spent a lot of time in Sheridan. Who was it? Sarah was speaking to. The kids have nothing to do. You know, Sheridan, when I was growing up, had one of the greatest sports organizations around. I don't know if they still do or not. Yeah, I know, but I'm saying they do not have a good sports. They don't have a little league.
Don't engage. Don't do that.
Okay. So anyway,
I'll address it.
That's what kept me, my brothers, out of trouble growing up. Right? It was the athletic organizations and things to do. Carl, what you spoke to as far as the housing goes, let me tell you, we're seeing this all over the city. I see it in Brookline, I see it in Beachview. You know, we have a problem with like LLCs that are, some of these people, we don't even know where they're at. When they're overgrown or their tenants are leaving trash out or need to be cited, we try to look for the owners to cite them. They're all over the world. What we're having is these developers or real estate collectors, call it what you want, but they're gobbling up properties within the city of Pittsburgh. They know it's gonna be worth something someday, but meanwhile, they're just sitting on them and really not doing much with them. So a lot of them are just deteriorating. It's frustrating for me when we can't find where the homeowner is, or we've cited them numerous times and it just goes unanswered. So, you know, really bad. We talked about the garbage. You know, I've been cleaning up my own district. I can't stand it. I agree with you 100%. Garbage is like, it's the easiest thing to do for us as a city, is to pick up garbage. It really costs us nothing. Two people in a truck going around. I took it upon myself. I don't know if you've seen the Liberty Tubes, the entrance to the Liberty Tubes, nasty garbage and everything that's accumulated down there.
It's my district.
No, is that your district or is it mine? Well, I'm cleaning. I don't know. It's me, you, or Charlotte. I didn't actually know. But my district drives by it, so that was like, you know, I had to clean that up. It really is really, really bad. So I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I will say, you know, one of the problems is the lack of police presence, getting police to respond to Mount Washington, say, when they come speeding up and down 70 mile an hour on Bertha Street, which is ridiculous. Somebody is going to be killed up there. Motorcycles as well, you know, so yeah, it just needs some control up there, some presence, police presence, whatever it is. Again, I'll work with Teresa. Whatever she wants to do with the police up there, I'm a full partner because I'm vested also up there as well. And Lisa, Kathy, I wish I'd have known you were going to be here. She's probably going to be so proud that you were here because everything you say, she agrees 100% with and is always, you know, relaying to me. Other than she wants Fetzer and Bertha paved, but that's another story. So anyway, I'm the public safety chair. So any questions regarding the police and, you know, lack of them or how we respond or how we don't respond to things, I'm here to answer any questions. And I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you. And if he's going to do anything, we're going to get our bikes and ride up on Grid. Councilwoman Warwick, did you want to say something?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thanks everybody for coming out. I know that it's, you know, it's a nice night, and you know, I appreciate you all taking your evening to come here and talk to us. And this is my first time here at this rec center. So I represent District 5, which is on the east side of town, right? Squirrel Hill, Greenfield, Hazelwood, Lincoln Place, Hayes. So I have to admit, I'm not real familiar with your communities over here and the layout, but I've, you know, been taking some notes. Yeah, I mean, on some of these topics, you know, the litter, I hear you, right? I hear you. It's an issue in Pittsburgh, right? Like dealing with the litter, and it's something. I'm the chair of Public Works, so that means I talk. It's something I talk about with the director of Public Works all the time. I know that it feels like an intractable problem, but it doesn't have to be, right? And you know, there are plans. Hopefully for next year, but you know, something that I mean, my personal feeling is that when it comes to litter, that we should be treating litter, our DPW folks should treat litter the same way that we treat snow and weeds, right? Mm-hmm. Is that you have a season, right? So you know, in the winter it's snow, in the spring and summer, you know, when the stuff's overgrowing and you know, they cut back so you can make safe turns around, you know, that kind of thing. That's when you do, you know, that's the main thing. And then, you know, maybe after winter, there's like pothole season, right, before paving and after the snow. But I think that in that like October, you know, September, October, November season, when the leaves are dead and you can really see, right, you can really see the hillsides, it seems to me that should be like litter season. Like, my feeling is that if we can plow all the streets in Pittsburgh within 24 hours, like of a snow, you know what I mean, in a snow event, then we can use that same kind of system to go through, you know, take like a 6 week, whatever period it is, and go through and do like a deep clean. because it's not every street, right? So, and do a sort of a deep clean on litter, and then just sort of regular maintenance as needed. That's sort of one idea, but another sort of it's called the gold plan. Like our folks in environmental services are like the garbage and recycling, like the cleanup end of DPW. They have something sort of on the books called the gold plan, and that basically would be like to hire a dedicated crew that just does only litter. You know, and it has like their own space. So that's kind of two different ways to approach the same issue, but we are obviously not there yet, right? And it's something that I am definitely committed to continuing to push on, you know, until we can get something in place, right? It seems like, and I understand that it's a behavior thing too. You know, getting young people not to throw trash out. Please tell anybody you know, don't throw trash out of your car. But at the same time, we should be picking it up, because if there's litter, then you're more likely to throw more litter, right? If there's litter on the ground, you're more likely to. So I appreciate you talking about that. As far as the racing car situation, I texted our director of public safety. You know, this feels to me like a need for patrols. I mean, again, I'm not from here, I don't want to assume, but this feels to me like the need for just regular patrols. We need officers in their car regularly. Doesn't have to be all the time, 24/7, but it has to be often enough that when you're driving through, you don't want to risk it, because you might get, and I can't speak because I'm not familiar with the zones over here. I do know over in zone 4, we are starting a pilot program with our commander over in zone 4, where they have like a dedicated team, and they sort of they circulate around the neighborhood. So like they started it in Greenfield, and they did just like, I mean, if they weren't on an emergency call, there was like this I don't know, it was like 4 or 5 officers, and they were in Greenfield, and they were ticketing people if they're running stop sign, you know, that kind of thing. And then they moved to Oakland next, right? So I don't know, maybe that's something to explore with your commanders, right? Like, but it, you know, we are short on police. I think the ideal was maybe 850, 950. I've heard 850, but we are below that. You know, the city is doing, you know, we've been doing recruitment classes. We did give the police a raise. I think it was whatever their last contract, right? They did get a raise. A few other things we've been doing to make it so that officers can spend their time on you know, urgent violent crime, as opposed to sort of not, you know, less urgent, is the telephone reporting unit, so mandatory telephone reporting. So instead of let's say your car got broken into in the middle of the night, you come out in the morning, your car's been broken into, right? Rather than having an officer drive to your house to like take that report at your house, you can call it in, and that is saving some time, not a ton, but some, right, for our officers. I mean, I know that before that, I've seen officers, I was in a restaurant once, and I saw an officer get called because there was a dispute over the bill. Like, that's not what they should be doing, right? These are highly trained officers, and so they should be focusing on things like that, right? Like urgent safety issues, like cars speeding down the street and doing that kind of enforcement. That's my opinion. You know, we also have an expanded social work bureau now, of 60 or so social workers. So like if it's a mental health call, that is clearly not a violent call, right? It is clearly does not need someone with a gun. We have a social work team that can be called in to handle that situation. So, you know, it's sort of how we're kind of cobbling together while we are low, right? Making the most out of the officers that we do have, right? And making sure that they are out. And I think it's fair enough for us as council people and for you as residents to, you know, to expect that our officers are out on patrol in, you know, as much as possible, right? Yeah, thanks for bringing all that to light here. The last thing is, you know, I really want to say thank you to the two folks about the one about the garden, about, you know, inviting kids to enjoy your garden, and also like inviting them into the, you know, to the fire pit to like sit, because I just to talk a little bit, we had a post agenda, I think it was just yesterday, about something that the city is doing called the Safe Passages Program. And that's something that we're doing in 7 of our high schools. It's in Perry, Alderdice, Arlington, Brashear, Millions, Malayan, Obama, and Westinghouse. So this is a program, it is the city, Operation Better Block, Pittsburgh Public Schools, REACH, right? And it's sort of part of the I don't know if you've heard the Stop the Violence initiative. So these are folks in the schools. They are engaging ambassadors so they're finding kids who are like at risk of violent incidences, and kind of training those kids to become mediators amongst their peers. And I mean, it was really fabulous. I encourage everybody to watch the post agenda. It's actually very moving. And I wish I brought I don't have all the numbers, but I mean the incidences, the disciplinary incidences in the schools. So for example, in Westinghouse, just in Westinghouse, went from the year that it started, they had 1,599 disciplinary incidences, and the following year they had 874. This is a very successful program, remarkable. Also significant drops. So like there've been overall there's been a 27%, just in like a year and a half or so, 27% drop in discipline incidences, a 14% drop in the number of students who are like involved, right? Like these sort of high risk kids, and an almost 8% drop in violent events overall. It's a really incredible program. It's exactly what you're talking about here, right? It is bringing bringing adults together to, you know, they even have technology like an alert system. So if there is an incident in the neighborhood, like over the weekend, right, and they hear about it, right, because, you know, this is community folks, they get an alert and then everyone mobilizes. They're communicating between schools. So if you have kids who don't know each other between schools and there's incidences happening, say on a bus or whatever, between communities. It's just been a very successful program, and I don't know what's the high school for this?
They don't have one, it's in Brashear.
Oh, it's Brashear.
Langley Cross?
It used to be Langley.
Yeah.
Now it's a K to 8. That's part of the problem.
Okay. Well, at any rate, so, you know, these programs do exist, and they're doing very good work. And I know that it's not, you know, it's not something that happens overnight, but it is happening, and there is success, you know. And I know that when it comes to sort of things like car break-ins and things like that's sort of small consolation, right? If your car's getting broken into. But I think sort of bigger picture, it is important to remember that, you know, programs like this are leading to major reductions in like gun violence, right? Like a 33% drop in homicides in the city and a 44% drop in non-fatal shootings. And these are these kids, right? Last year in 2024, we did not have a single kid between, I think it's like 13 and 17, you know, murdered by a gun. We did have 2 incidences this year, but they were not gun violence, but they were kids playing with guns. At any rate, 1 death is too many, but I just want you all to know that this issue of the kids, it is something that this is a #1 focus right now in our public safety department at the city of Pittsburgh, right? Whether it is our social work team, our law enforcement folks, our community folks, you know, and our other, you know, nonprofit partners. Lots of work is being done. It's not work that you necessarily see every day, but we are taking it seriously. I just want to stress that. I don't think, and I agree with Tony. I don't always agree with you, Tony, but I do agree. You're right. This body, we have the power to make these types of, right? Like we, as your representatives, have the you know, we can all sit down with our directors, we can all be, push until the things get fixed. And it doesn't always happen overnight, right? It doesn't always happen fast. And, sometimes it feels like forever, but it's that, and you have good representation here. And so, anyway, I just want to say thank you for having me, and I'm glad to have you all.
Can I add one little thing?
Thank you. Go ahead, you want to answer?
Okay, yeah, I just want to comment a couple of things. First and foremost, Beth Pittinger, she says it best. You'll hear her say, we are now a big city with a small town police force. Did I do that justice?
Small town police department for big city problems.
There you go. Okay, so and that's kind of the state that we're in. It really is. As far as the phone calls go, Councilwoman Warwick opened up to, when you go to a station, if nobody's manning our police stations anymore at night, which is a scary thing. My district, we are up in arms. We don't, if somebody's ransacking our car, we expect a police officer to be there and take a report. And it may be hard for us to do because of the lack of police we have, but we still want that. We still expect it. I still expect it. So, and we're lucky because we have a really great commander. Most of you do for this area in Ripple, Commander Ripple, and he's also commander for parts of my neighborhoods, and he's just the best. The other thing was our best means of getting this crowds out of off of Grandview and kind of just being too rowdy and causing trouble is this woman right here, your councilwoman. I know that she has stopped many times on her own and kicked gangs of kids off of the corner, and they skedaddle when she comes. So we all know she's retiring, so maybe we could find a job for her as a steady, enforcer. She is an enforcer, trust me, up there. So
Don't give me a gun and a badge, okay?
Yeah. She doesn't need a gun and a badge. That's the beauty about it. Okay, thanks. That's it for me. Thanks.
God, I'm so embarrassed.
You do. You kick them off the corner. I know you have.
I also feed the kids and buy
Yes,
them
of
toys,
course,
okay?
of course.
So, a lot of people have seen the kids run to my car when they see me. I'm going to say that. They don't run away from me. But I do want to thank my colleagues for coming because they've had a busy day today. All of our Cable Bureau people, our staff from the Community Engagement Office for City Council, and our Sergeant at Arms, who is a Sheridan resident, by the way. But it's okay, I said that, I hope. Okay. And so I just want to thank all of them for being here. And of course, our lovely Julie, Senior Center staff. So thank you all for all the work you put in so that we can have these meetings in the evenings to make it more accommodating for the residents. And we did get a lot of requests from residents, and it was actually across the city. And so I was hoping more people from across the city would be here, so it wasn't just my district, but I am glad that my district came out to share their concerns and some of the concerns that they have. But I will say that I want to talk about a few things. I think part of, first let me just say, in terms of the litter, I think I've done what I can as a council person. I've picked up litter. I've wrote the anti-litter campaign, that whole program. Started the grass cutting program across the city of Pittsburgh, did the e-recycling program, and did all sorts of things to help with that part. But I do think a part of it is an education piece that we're missing. And I think our kids, I know everybody thinks I'm crazy when I say this, but I think our kids want to do what's right if people give them a chance. Part of what our district struggles with is 50% of the kids in Sheridan are in foster care. So half the kids that will be there this year won't be there next year. So they're in a transit situation. And I think when we talk about doing things for the kids, we absolutely have to engage the parents. And I think that's, or the guardian or whomever they're staying with, because a lot of the problems is that people don't know each other, and I think communities don't know one another. But in Sheridan in particular, I'm going to say, I think there is a lot of programs for the kids in there. There always has been. Or it hasn't always been, I should say, but there has been recently. We have Hope for Tomorrow. We have Sister Mary has a program. We have the boxing program at Langley, which I helped start with the late Jimmy Savetic. We have Open Fields does work all over our district, and mostly in Crafton Heights and Northview Heights. But a lot with kids that need some direction. And Elliott West End Athletic Association does some stuff with the kids. We have a library in Sheridan. We have a pool, and we do have a park. And the park has $2 million for renovations for the park, but it has not been spent yet. And as much as council can advocate, and as much as we can work with directors, we do not direct the directors. So I don't want people to think that we can do something we can't do. We do not direct directors. That is, any implementation is up to the administration side, not up to council. We can say, here's the money, here's what we want you to do, we can write legislation, but we can't make a director implement whatever it is that we want. I wish we could sometimes, and I try sometimes to make them do it anyway, because I do know that we need a lot in our area. But we also have the Stevens School Building, which we're working on. And that's supposed to be a home for the Hope for Tomorrow program, Sister Mary's Resource Center, the boxing program, and then a community center for the entire region. And that had $4 million, and we just took half a million out to put in for a playground up in Mount Washington on Shaler to get that done too. So there's $2 million this year that's supposed to use for waterproofing that building for the Stevens School Building. So once that's up and running, they'll have more places to go and more things. But I try to tell everybody, and the kids especially, that an absence of something to do is not a reason to commit a crime, because I think we keep making that excuse, and it makes kids hear that. And I said, one of the things in short-tier cities, they hold the bar so high. I mean, they yelled at me once because I brought somebody down with me without getting permission. So it was like they were serious. They hold the bar high, and I think part of that is why their community is so amazing. I mean, it's it's one of the safest neighborhoods in the city of Pittsburgh, the only predominantly black neighborhood we have in our district, and it has one of the highest home ownerships in the city of Pittsburgh, because they hold the bar high. They're really high. And I think I give them credit for what they've done. They've done it not because the city's done it, because they've done it. The residents have done it. So part of that is that they hold expectations really high for their kids, and I want us to start doing that. Yes, they do need something to do, but there are a lot of things for them to do. And if I keep telling people, if having something to do meant kids would be safe, Homewood and Sheridan would be some of the safest neighborhoods, because they have some of the most things that other neighborhoods don't have. I mean, Esplin they don't have any of those things. They have a playground. That's it. Westwood has the playground, a school, and a ball fields. Yeah. And Oakwood has a playground. So there's not. East Carnegie has a playground. So there's a lot of things that our neighborhoods don't have. We only have 4 pools in our 20 out of 23 neighborhoods. So most of them don't have a pool. Most of them don't. They only have 4 libraries. The one in Beechview, I keep reminding them, is in our district. But we only have 4 libraries. But Sheridan has the libraries. Sheridan has but we have to get them up and running. We have to make them usable so the kids can actually enjoy them. When we did the master plan for Sheridan, we had more kids attend that process than any other place in the city. I mean, it was really nice. I want to see them young enough to enjoy that. I want to see it happen while they're still young. And I actually talked about it this week, actually. But I think when we talk about the commander for Zone 3, I think he does the best he can, because he's also balancing between South Side, and that's a challenge. And we did put the cameras up. You're right, we need to know about that. He did put in undercover officers, but you're right, we need to know about what's happening. We asked for a report a couple weeks ago, but I'm sure he's probably swamped himself. And he's also working. Actually, this new chief is actually working with Commander Ripple to maybe give him back the cycles and have him put the cycles up there for enforcement. So if that happens, I think that will address the issues. And I think that's what we need all across our district and all across the city. I think a little bit of enforcement with a little bit of programming and a little bit of education and a little bit of caring, all balancing one, and us doing our part with legislation. But and I do think that when we talk about the problems with properties, they did take out. This administration did take out the residential and just have commercial, but we talked about maybe changing that back and increasing residential, because that's what Sheridan's experiencing, problems with residential properties, and that's what some of our other neighborhoods are. So we'll move forward with that, or look at how we can do with it, get that passed with 5 votes of council. And the other thing is that we're also working on no cruising laws that the commander brought to us, saying that that's what he needs for enforcement in the area. So I'm working with Bob Charlton on that, because it was something he was working on initially. But with that said, I do think that we have to make sure that we realize that a lot of times policy matters, and if people are saying that they want to defund the police, or they want to do this, or they want to, how that affects you does matter, and there is some balance there. You have to have some balance. I don't want to see everybody arrested. I don't want to see everybody walking away free. I want to see some balance where we're enforcing laws that, if you're giving somebody a chance, we're enforcing the laws, and so that you don't become victims, because it's not fair to the people that are trying to do everything right and paying for it. a lot of times. So I think that we need to make sure that we're doing a better job with that. And so for my part, I'm willing to work on that with my colleagues and seeing what we can do to improve those areas and that stuff. But I do want to say that I think with the kids, when it comes to the kids, everybody knows the kids are my soft spot. I could slap the fire out of an adult, but when it comes to the kids, I mean, actually, I feel badly because so many of the kids are struggling so many ways. And but I think to get the kids healthy, we have to give the adults help. So I think those are some things that we are still working on and things we're trying to work with. And there are programs that we try to work through with, Keisha Gomez, Ebony, Lunsford, Farmer Girl Eb does a great program where she's letting kids come in and learning about farming. And I think those are things that make a difference and, really make kids feel important. So you didn't come to hear me. We really just wanted to come hear you. So I'll end it with that. Is there anything else anybody else wants to add?
I could just say one other thing.
Yeah.
When we talk about policy, Tony mentioned it, Teresa mentioned it. One policy we have, and this goes back to Mount Washington and the motorcycles flying up and down. Our policy in the Pittsburgh Police Department is to not chase anybody on a motorcycle, a dirt bike, any type of motor vehicle that's not a car, basically. Problem is, they know that. They know it now. They do. And they just blatantly will jump speed, whatever. They know we're not going to chase them. So I'm not for chasing them all the time because it is dangerous. It puts other people in danger. It's got to be a better way. But to just come out and blanket and say we're not going to chase anybody on a mini bike or a motorcycle or a dirt bike, it's putting a lot of people at risk, and that's why we have people driving up and down Brownsville Road. They drive up and down on the sidewalks to go around the traffic, 60 mile an hour, right past the library. That's just one policy thing that needs to be changed. I'm working on that with our public safety director. Whether we chase them or not is irrelevant. Well, it's not irrelevant, but the fact that it's known to everybody out there on a motorcycle, on a mini bike, that we're not going to chase them, they're laughing at us. They really are. They're just like laughing at us and saying, well, you won't chase me because you're not allowed. That's our policy. So a lot of things have to change like that. That's just one that is front and center for me that I thought of while we were talking. So
Yeah. I chase them. But anyway. No. But anyway.
They need to, when they make the laws and rules like that, they need to not put it on the news.
Right.
So I'm just going to add that I know we need to do some things differently. I have voted against the police budget, and I voted against the entire budget this year because I do know that there's some issues, and I'm not going to vote for something that's going to put our area into. My council can allocate, legislate, and advocate. Implementation is up to the administration. So I don't want to see council members blamed for something that they have no authority to do. I mean, a lot of people like to misrepresent what we have our authority to do. We all wish we could make them all do what we want to do, because believe me, there'd be a lot of things different. But with that said, we do the best we can by controlling the budget and writing legislation and getting it passed. But you need 5 members to do anything. You can't just do it yourself. I wish, we all wish we could do things by ourselves sometimes. But we do have a great team, so I want to thank my colleagues. And with that said, can I have a motion to adjourn? And we can stay and talk.
Oh.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.